Okay, simple as this. It's about 4:45 in the morning. I got a lot on my mind and I got a lot on my heart. And I just finished recording the podcast. The name of the podcast is He Who Found a Wife. Now, I understand everybody ain't biblical. Everybody don't even believe in God. Everybody don't even believe in the concept of God, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit. I get that. So if you don't, it's probably not for you. But if you are a biblical believer, not necessarily saying you have to be a Christian. If you are a believer, if you're a believer in holiness, this may be for you. This is a return back to a biblical approach of how kids and adults, depending on your situation, are supposed to go from being under their parents' roof into marriage. The Bible says, a man shall leave his parents and cleave to his wife. It didn't say a man shall leave his parents and go struggle. A man should leave his parents and to go jump into, 4 or 5 relationships with 5 different girlfriends, and it didn't say all that. It says a man's supposed to leave his parents and cleave to his wife. From under your parents' roof to your wife. From under your parents' roof to your wife. Why is that? This is what I explained in the podcast. So if you check out the podcast and you check out maybe some of the things that you yourself as a male probably didn't understand that you should have understood, but life hit us all different. And maybe some things as a woman that you didn't get or you understand or that you need to understand, maybe I can help you understand it. So just sit back, check out the podcast. Check out the podcast, listen to it. It's all audio. It's not all video yet. It's just audio. Check it out. Listen to me. Put some feedback down in my comments and let me know what you think. All right? All right. Peace and love, everybody. All right. Good morning, everyone. As you just seen the intro, this is pretty much um, as a man findeth the wife. This pretty much is going to be a podcast that I am going to turn into a 2, 3 part series talking about a man finding a wife and everything, the lead up factors biblically of a man finding a woman and a man finding a wife and getting some things straight. Getting some things straight about this whole, dating process and a man meeting a woman and this whole topic of being a provider. Uh, I'm gonna kind of walk with you guys on a couple of things that I think a lot of people take out of context. When you talk about biblically, like if you're not talking about the biblical concept of this, if you're not talking about the biblical concept of marriage, I'm probably not talking. I'm probably not talking to you. If you're talking about the worldly concept of marriage, being able to do whatever you want to, get married however many times you want to, just do whatever you want, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking for everybody who's getting married the biblical way, but you may have been taught wrong, or you may have been dealing with uh, a bad upbringing without understanding of the word, because some of us have already been in damaged situations that we're trying to rebound from and make our marriages or our relationships work according to God. But like we're already old. Like me, like I'm already out of my parents' house. I'm already married. Uh, at the end of the day, it's hard. I can't go back and reverse to quote unquote do things right. So what I have to do now is that I grow biblically. I have to apply what I know. I have to apply the revelation that I find out now that I didn't know close to 10 years when I got married that I didn't know when I was dating my girlfriend back then. At the end of the day, I have to apply that stuff to my kids now. So when my kids get older, I have to do this thing right. So I won't be setting my kids up to endure a struggling marriage, a struggling relationship, trying to struggle your way to good times. So, with that being said, let's jump right into it. And when we jump right into this biblical marriage, we got to go all the way back. You got to take it all the way back to Genesis. You can't talk about being married and all this stuff biblically if you don't go back to Genesis and lay some groundwork. You can't do it. So we get past obviously the whole let there be light stage and God making man in his image and his likeness and things of that nature. So what happens is in Genesis 1 and 26, it goes, and the Lord said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let him have dominion over fish, over birds, livestock, and all other creeping things on the earth. Dominion means rule over everything. Dominion means governorship over everything. But let me let you know something. Only stick to the Bible. God never said, let you have dominion over people. So I want y'all to keep that in mind. I want y'all to keep that in mind. That in this part in Genesis, he never said, let you have dominion over people. He just said over fish, over bird, over livestock, and all the creeping things on the earth. Why? Because there was no other people on earth at that time. So it was no one to have dominion over. Adam was the only one there. So keep that in mind. Now we move to Genesis 2:15, right? And the Lord God took man, put him in a garden of Eden, and told him to work and keep it, right? So he put him in a garden and told him to work and keep it. He put him in a garden and told him to work and keep it. So in Genesis 2:15, God put Adam in the garden and told him to work and keep it. So he gave Adam a home and he gave Adam work. You understand? Genesis 2:15, he gave Adam a home and he gave Adam work. Right? Genesis 2:16, and then he told him, eat of all except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If you eat that, you shall die. So Genesis 2:16. So you go from Genesis 2:15, from God giving man a home and work, right? To him giving him food to eat. So he gave him work. He gave him work and he gave him a home before he gave him food. So what I'm doing right now is I'm pulling it up in my Bible just to make sure that I'm telling you guys the truth. I'm pulling it up in my Bible right now just to make sure I'm telling you guys the truth. So Genesis 2:15, right? So Genesis 2:15. Genesis 2:14, if you want to start there, it's telling you exactly where the Garden of Eden was, you know, between the 4 rivers, which are in Africa, on the African continent. Then it goes into it and it says, and the Lord God took the man, put him in the Garden of Eden to dress it and keep it, right? To dress it and keep it. And the Lord God commanded the man, saying, of every tree of the garden thou may eatest freely, right? Then he goes 17. But of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil thou shalt not eat of it. So he told him, I gave you a home. I gave you instructions to work and clean up the home, right? And I gave you food in that order. I gave you a home. I gave you work. Then I gave you food. Now, let's stick here. Let's hang out tight right here for a while. This is what I want people to understand. Why did God didn't tell Adam, right? All right, I created you. I'm dropping you off. And guess what? You gonna find whatever you go test it. You go test the fields and see what you can eat and what you can't eat. So that means you go see what you can, what tastes good and what don't taste good, what's gonna make you sick and what don't make you sick. He didn't tell him that. He gave him everything. His father gave him everything. This is what I want people to understand. Adam's father gave him everything. He gave him a job. He gave him a place to stay. And he gave him food to eat. He gave him everything he needed. All this came before a woman came. Remember, all this came before a woman came. So, then on Genesis 2:18, and the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet for him. Right? God was talking. I got him a place to stay. I told him how to keep it. And I gave him food. Right? But guess what? God still had more things for him to do before Eve even came on the scene. God had an ideal that, you know what? I got something that I want to reward him with, but I got more work for him to do. Right? I have more work for him to do. You understand? So guess what? Not only God gave Adam his first set of work, right? Now remember, he gave it to him. He didn't tell him go find a job. He didn't tell him go figure out what work is. He gave him work, right? Gave him a home, told him to dress it, keep it. That was work. Work, keeping up the home. Work, home. It takes work to keep up a home. Gave him food, told him exactly what the food he could eat, told him exactly what he could eat, and told him exactly what he couldn't eat, that he gave to him now, that his father gave to him. Then he thought of a mate, but he didn't give him the mate yet. Why he didn't give him a mate? Because he had a second round of work for Adam to complete before he rewarded him with a mate. Genesis 2:20. Now, let's just read 19 through 20. And out of the ground, the Lord God formed every beast of the field, every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was their name therefore. God gave him a second round of work. On top of working and keeping up your home, I have another job for you to do. Everything I created, I need you to give it a name. I need you to give it a name. He gave him mental work. Why? For those of you who think that work is only physical, I know people who work physical jobs, and I was a guy who worked physical jobs. And I worked 15, 16 hours a day. And they were physical, gruesome, heavy lifting, everything. And I would come home and I'm tired. But sometimes, man, There were things that I would do with no physicality, and it was all mental power, stress, and strain. And the mental work was just so excruciating that it made me feel twice as drained, twice as lifeless as working 16 hours a day physically. So he gave Adam in Genesis 2:20 a second job, not just the first one. Because you got to understand, you have to dress and you have to keep your home on a daily basis, right? You have to dress and you have to keep your home on a daily basis. We're going to get to that later when it comes to women. But dressing and keeping your home was something you have to do daily. Then he gave him a second round of work. He told him to name all livestock, all birds, and all beasts of the field. Right? Now, I don't know how long that took. But when you look at every and all the animals that are on the earth right now, if we're going to assume in context that every animal that's on the earth right now was back then, that means Adam was sitting down for a long time. It wasn't just no 24 hours. It wasn't just no 48 hours. This was a long time. If we really putting it in context, Adam sitting down for a while, naming the birds of the air, the beast of the field, every creeping and crawling thing, and all the livestock. He's naming them all. So that took some time. Let's be real. That took some time. So that was his second job that his father gave him. We only can stick to the Bible. The Bible never said that God told Adam in Genesis right now, of the parts that I'm reading, the Bible never said, "Hey Adam, go find your job. Hey Adam, go be a netsman. Hey Adam, go be a tent worker. Hey Adam, go find you something to do and create an occupation." The Bible never said that. I'm just going based off biblically. God gave Adam everything he wanted Adam to do. Right? Okay. So Genesis 2:20, he had him name everything. Right? Genesis 2:21. And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon man, or to fall upon Adam. And as he slept, he took one of his ribs, closed them up, and we got history. Woman comes, Adam hit him with a woe, flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. And then Eve is on the scene, right? Eve is on the scene after God gave Adam 2 jobs. God gave Adam a home to live in, and God showed Adam, this is what you can eat, this is what you can not eat, this is what you can enjoy, this is what you can't enjoy, this is what you have dominion over, and this is what you don't. You see what I'm saying? Y'all get where I'm going. So when it comes to getting into this marriage thing, right? And walking biblically into this marriage life. And I may be jumping ahead of the gun, but when it comes to this modern day times of who's a provider, and a man should be a provider, and a man should pay all the bills, and a man should do all this. Now look, if we on biblical, right? He didn't say he had to have any type of currency to pay nobody. None of that. God never said none of that, right? His father gave him a home. His father gave him food, and his father gave him work. And a lot of people thinking Well, what does this got to do with anything? How do you build generational wealth? That's what I want you to think about that. How do you build generational wealth? Do you build generational wealth just kind of letting your family just scatter around and whoever hits big here and whoever hits big there, whoever hits big here and we just gonna hope this is what's gonna happen and this is what's gonna create wealth? Or you start a system. You start a system. You put a system in place of how you're going to pass down things to create wealth. God had a system lined up for Adam. God gave him everything he needed to build off of. His father gave him everything he needed to build off of. The process of starting generational wealth. Right? If Adam didn't sin, right? All he would have did was have his kids. They would have still been in the garden. They would have still had all the food they ever would have wanted. God would have kept providing. Y'all have to understand one thing. God's initial intent for us was to provide everything for us. That was going to keep the connection between man and God. God created man first. Why? The revelation from God falls on the man and then falls onto his family. Woman is the glory of man, man is the glory of God. But guess what? After the fall, things got distorted. Now, I'm going to tell you what the fall does. But God gave Adam his home. So this is what I want. This is what I want guys, fellas, ladies, everything to understand. I know we in a world and we're in a time right now where, we live in a life and it's kind of like, a man's supposed to be the provider. A man's supposed to take care of everything. A man's supposed to have everything ready for me. He's supposed to take care of all the bills and blah, 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 blah. We can go biblically, and I don't want to speak too soon, but I can break all that down. And I can show you that has nothing to do with finances and stuff like that. Now, what I want people to understand, especially us as African American people, we have no system of creating generational wealth. Most of us don't. We have no system of setting our kids up to walk into their adult life and to be successful getting into a relationship. We don't have that. A lot of us, that we don't have that. A lot of us, the only thing we inherit from our parents is dysfunction. A lot of us don't inherit money, don't inherit properties, don't inherit businesses. A lot of us don't inherit that. We get pushed out of our homes early, or we want to live a certain way to where our parents think we are unbearable to live with under their roof, and then they put us out. And now we jumping in and out of these struggling relationships, and we wonder why they're failing. Why? Because we don't have a connection to a system that produces generational wealth and that produces an easier bridge for you to walk into a better future. We don't have that. God gave Adam a bridge. Adam didn't have to struggle for nothing. I'm just keeping it biblical. I don't care what no other man said. I'm going biblical. I'm going with how it's intended to start off what God was in. How God laid it out for Adam. How the father set up everything for the son before he gave him a wife. How the father set up everything for the son before he put a wife in the picture. So how as a male, and as the Bible says, the Bible doesn't say a man shall leave his mother and his father to cleave to his wife. It don't say that for no reason. The Bible doesn't say a man shall leave his mother's house and cleave to his wife. No, it doesn't say a man shall leave his struggling single mother and cleave to his wife. It doesn't say that. It says a man shall leave his mother and his father's house, which is telling you that the only way child or children will get here is through a mother and father. A man shall leave his mother and his father's house and cleave to his wife. It never said a woman shall leave her mother's and her father's house to cleave to her husband. We're going to break that down. So when you look at how God set up everything for Adam before the fall, and Genesis 2:24, like I said, therefore a man leaves his parents' home and hold fast to his wife. Let's rest on that. Because I'm tired of seeing so many families, whether they have two parents or they have one parent. And this is the understanding that I want the parent to understand, and this is the understanding that I want the child to understand. A two-parent home, as a parent, was designed for you, that even though by law of the land, that your child was considered an adult, it doesn't matter by law of the land that they're considered an adult, because guess what? They still rely on your wisdom. Just because they're 18 don't mean that they're mentally grown to take on the world. Just because they're 18 don't mean they have all the wisdom in the world to go out and make the right decisions without ever consulting with their parents. That's why when it says a man who leaves his parents' home and cleave to his wife, it doesn't say a man who get kicked out of his parents' house at 18 to struggle to find a place to live, to struggle to find a job, to struggle through school, to struggle in these in and out relationships, going 50-50 with girlfriend number one and girlfriend number two, and we struggling on how we gonna pay bills and everything like that, and you pay this much bill. It doesn't say all that. It says a man leaves his parents' home and cleaves to his wife. So you know what that means? Y'all ain't gonna want to hear it, but we gotta start doing right by our kids. And you as a child, if you're still young enough and you ain't out in this world and you ain't established enough, you might need to go back and make amends with your parents and do it the right way before you get too deep off in this world and you're struggling, like a lot of us are doing it. It says a man shall leave his parents and hold fast to his wife. You know what that means? You are supposed to be living with your parents. It never says a woman shall leave her parents and go to her husband. You as children, whether you a male child or you a female child, you are supposed to be staying with your parents. Why you stay with your parents, even though you're of age in society to be so-called grown? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because if you keep putting kids out into the world with lack of wisdom, lack of education, lack of financial stability, you're going to keep producing what we have now. Illegitimate kids that turn into illegitimate adults. This is what we're producing. Why? Because we as parents always want to keep kicking kids out into this world because we feel like they are unbearable to live with, because our kids rebel sometimes, and we want to tell them, if you're not doing what I'm doing exactly how I'm doing up under my roof, you need to get out and go live on your own. And now you're sending the kid out into the world unprepared. And this is why we got the world that we live in today. You as a male child are supposed to be with your parents Whether you're going to college, you stay with your parents. I'm not saying you can't go live on campus, but you're supposed to be with your parents, whether you're living at home with them, whether you were at college coming back at home with them, but you were supposed to be under your parents' roof. Yes, your parents are going to show you and help you transition into adulthood. Just because you're 18, 19, 20 don't mean you know what adulthood is. You just of age to do some things. You know what that means, child? You still have some obedience to be doing to your parents. Stop being so fast to jump into this world and think that you're grown, because you're setting yourself up for failure. You still need the transition of your parents' wisdom. No matter how you see your parents, they are older than you for a reason. They have been here for a reason. They may can't tell you everything that's good, but there's something good about your parents that you need to learn. If you got them, or your guardians, whoever you dealing with, you need to be living with your parents. And I know this is not society today, but you need to be living with your parents while you're going to school, while you're working your job, doing what? Still peeping how a relationship goes. If you got a 2-parent home, to see how it still functions. Saving money. Why you need to save money? Let me tell you why. Because if you're 18, 19, 20, paying your parents $200 to stay at home beats paying $1,500, $1,600, $1,000, $2,000 a month, which you're probably not going to be making that young, to take care of yourself. So you paying your parents $200 a month, maybe for a cable bill or for a phone bill or something, beats shelling out all this money struggling in life when you could be saving this money to walk into something good while you build a relationship with a young lady, so you can stack some financial gains until you get that degree or whatever you're trying to do. You have to stack money. The problem is we're jumping out, we're getting kicked out too early to where we're trying to struggle. And at the same time we're trying to struggle, we're trying to stack money. So this is what happens now. With a struggling mind trying to stack money leads to desperation. And we start doing desperate things to try to get some money, because we're doing desperate things to try to survive. This is why you need to be living with your parents. A man shall leave his parents and hold fast to his wife. Biblically now, you ain't even supposed to be fornicating with no woman. You ain't even supposed to be having sex with no woman until she becomes your wife. That what solidifies the covenant between y'all is sex. You ain't even supposed to be sexually involved with no woman like that. So you supposed to be here learning life skills under your father, seeing a good representation of what a wife is under your mother, stacking money, getting ready to move out to be ahead of the curve with some cushion. And your father was supposed to be building something or have something in play that makes it easier for you to transition into life and build this generational wealth. This is how it's supposed to happen. You're not supposed to be jumping out on your own and trying to play the scene, invite this girl over, knowing dang well something sexually gonna happen. It's gonna be some fornication somewhere. When you put two people up under a roof with no adult supervision. This is why you're supposed to be at your parents' home until you get a wife. Why? Because your parents, if you got two parents, even if you got one, your parent or your parents will look at you and supposed to tell you, hey, yeah, I can't control what you do out in the free world, but I hope you respect me enough to not be out here having premature sex, possibly getting somebody pregnant, possibly coming across some type of allegation or accusation or whatever. I hope you're not doing that. Yeah, I don't mind you dating somebody. I don't mind you liking somebody. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind you building that friendship before relationship. And then when you build it and you want to move on to your own, while you living with your parent, you and that woman are to get married at that point. So when you move out, she can move with you. Now y'all under your one roof as a married couple. So y'all are not fornicating. Y'all ain't committing adultery because you are under your own roof now, taking care of your own bills. Y'all should have a good ideology of how y'all gonna handle stuff. Either you got all it takes to handle it because your parents, your father, they set you up right to be able to take care of all this, or if in this modern day times you got a girl you build something with and she understands you moving into a place, but she understands that, guess what, we're gonna do this 50-50. However, but y'all have a good ideology going up under one roof. But before y'all go up under that one roof together, y'all need to be married. There don't need to be one night in your place of fornication. It should be blissful love making between a husband and a wife. That's what it's supposed to be. That's what it's supposed to be. Even if a child is in 29, 30, 40, you ain't supposed to leave the nest until you're married. You get married under your parents' roof, and then you move out with your woman. You want to know why you get married under your parents' roof? Because if you get married under your parents' roof and you still have to stay at home with your parents, you're not fornicating under your parents' roof. You're not desecrating and disrespecting their home. So you will be married. Even if you married and stay with your parents, you're a married couple. And by God, you're not breaking no law. You're not fornicating. You and your wife stay with your parents. If that's how y'all got to do it, that's how y'all got to do it. But at the end of the day, you are a married couple. You're not under your mother's roof or your father's roof or both of your parents' roof fornicating, having sex, because the parents of a married couple shouldn't even be allowing that in their house. There's no way a mother, single or not, a father, single or not, a couple of parents together should be allowing their kids fornicating under their roof. There is no way none of my kids are going to come back home and say, well, you know, Dad, I got my girlfriend here and she going to spend the night. Oh, no. No. We'll put her in a hotel by herself. It can't even be no, we're going to put her in the living room because while me and Mama sleep in the back and we knocked out, Mama Bear and Papa Bear style, y'all might be sneaking in the crib. We could put her in a hotel and you may sneak out and go to the hotel. You got to deal with that. But as long as you're not desecrating our home, as long as you're not disrespecting our home, fornicating under our roof, disrespecting us like that. But you need to be married before you move out. Just like a daughter. It doesn't say a daughter should leave her mother and father and cling to her husband. A daughter shouldn't be out there looking for no husband. Why? Why is it that so many young girls are getting put out their house so fast, so early? Because your parents are fed up. Yeah, because you out there making mistakes. I get it. They putting you out because you want to know why they putting you out? Because they see themselves in you. The same issues that they had with being promiscuous early and having sex, premarital sex early is the same. This is what they looking at you. They looking at themselves through you. But they put you out your house because you don't want to listen. They put you out their house because you don't want to listen. And now you got a young girl out here that you done kicked out the house at 17, 18 years old. And you wonder why she living with some man in her 30s, in his 30s. What you expect was going to happen? Especially if her parents, if her family didn't take her in. What you think she was gonna do? Sleep on the street? Or she was gonna find somewhere to lay it? And when she finds somewhere to lay it, 9 times out of 10, she gonna have to be giving up something. Or that man most likely gonna be putting her back out on the street. So why are you putting your daughters out? Why? I don't understand why parents are not letting their daughters stay there, home, until they become married women. Now, daughters, children, sons and daughters, this is what you have to understand. Just because you're of age, you can't disrespect your parents' home. You can't disrespect where your parents dwell. You can't disrespect the roof over your head that your parents own. You can't do that. You understand? And then you can't bring disrespect to your parents' home. Young ladies, if you still living with your mother and your father, you cannot be running the streets like a loose hoe and then thinking you're gonna come back and lay up under your parents' roof and you're bringing disrespect to their home. You're bringing a negative look to their home. Just because you grown don't mean you can go out here and live loose and just bring that disrespect to your parents' crib. You cannot do that. So you wonder why your parents are kicking you out, because you're bringing shame to their home. You cannot be living with your parents, but out in the streets just laying up with man after man after man and always thinking that you're going to go back to your parents and they just going to think it's all cool and rub your head and tell you it's going to be all right. You cannot bring that shame to your parents' crib. I don't care if it's your mother, I don't care if it's your father, and I don't care if your parents are together. You cannot bring that shame to your crib, to your parents' crib. Young man, I don't care if you're of age. You can't keep going out there laying up having baby after baby after baby and think you just gonna find haven at your parents' crib. And then having drama come to your parents' crib. You can't have that drama coming over there. You can't be doing that. You can't be out here gang banging and out here making enemies, but thinking you're gonna have a rest haven in your parents' crib and have your parents' crib get shot up. Have your parents' crib door get kicked in. You can't do that. So you can't live foul and think it's going to be okay to come and live under your parents' roof. Your parents are here for protection and guidance. Yes, you didn't ask to be in this world. You didn't as a child. But at the end of the day, your parents got you. You understand what I'm saying? Because they had you, but the you that they got, they didn't ask for. They asked for a son who is well-mannered. They asked for a son who's hardworking. They asked for a son who was respectable. They asked for a daughter who was well-mannered, respectable. They didn't ask for no daughter who out there gapping her legs up to everybody. They didn't ask for no son who out there shooting up other people's houses. They ain't asked for no son who gonna be out here hiding crack in the house. They didn't ask for that son. So just like you didn't ask to be in this world, the child that you representing, your parents didn't ask for that. Your parents tried your best or their best to do whatever they did to get behind you. Don't get it wrong. You probably had parents that wasn't great parents. They wasn't the perfect parents. But the child that you are, making the foul decisions that you make, your parents didn't ask for that. And I get it. Some people parents put them on some bad stuff in life. Some people's parents are the reason why they sell drugs. Some people's parents are the reason why they having premature sex. They are. You know, you understand what I'm saying? That's something that the parents got to do. If you were in that situation, and your mother or your father was out there letting you have sex premature, hey, they got to deal with that now because they started something that they can't stop. So either they're going to deal with it under their roof or they're going to put you out. But they can't get mad at the problem that they created. But if you got a parent or parents that didn't create none of these problems in you, none of these ill wills that you carry, you can't live under your parents' roof bringing these ill wills and these shame to your parents' house. You cannot be doing that because they will put you out. And you will be forced to be what you will be forced to see what grown is like. You understand? Children are supposed to be up under their parents' roof until they leave, until they get married. Why? Because you go from protection to protection. You understand? You go from the protection of the parent, which sometimes a lot of kids don't like, because the protection of a parent, even though you may be of age, comes with still telling you rights and wrongs and things to do and rules you have to abide by because you're under your parents' roof. But that's all created for you to go from protection to protection. So when you go from living under your parents' roof, you might call it suffering. But you could suffer under your parents' roof, find you somebody, get married to them, and then move under your own roof. So by the time you get under your own roof, there will be no day of fornication under your own roof. There will be no day of adulterous acts under your roof. You won't curse your roof already. The problem is too much of us are living in cursed houses because all the house or the apartment, no, it's cursed. It's cursed. It's cursed. Yeah, you thinking every night you out there having sex with your boyfriend or with your girlfriend, that ain't your husband, that ain't your wife, you just cursing your home. That's all you doing. You just cursing your home. You just cursing your home. That's it. Curse after curse after curse every day. You laying up, oh yeah, it feels good. But you ain't doing nothing but just cursing, just cursing it. That's it. You cursing your place of living. Let's keep it biblical though. You ain't doing nothing but cursing your place of living. So when it comes to setting up something to give your kids a better bridge in life, a better leap into adulthood. A lot of us grew up in single parents' homes. So a lot of us are facing situations where, like, our dad didn't leave us nothing. Our parents didn't really leave us much. You know, if they did, they left us dysfunction, or they left us, you know, just things of like how to work hard. You know, how to work hard to keep your head down. You know, how to just go to work every day, and when you go to work every day, everything gonna be fine. Like they didn't leave us anything about being entrepreneurs. They didn't leave us a business to run. You know what I'm saying? They didn't leave us a idea that they got so far with, that when we brought our mind into it with our time space and time span in life, that we would, you know, bring the success level up, you know, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times than what my father and them could do. You know, triple the business, as they say. You know, grow the manifestation. None of us don't have that. See, that's a lot of things that other folks have that we don't have. You know, like you have other people that tell their kids, okay, I got the oil company, and the nepotism of being a family member or whatever, I'm going to teach you everything about the oil company. So I'm going to teach you everything about this oil company when you're 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, 16, 17, 18, 19 years old. So when you decide to go and then graduate from school and go to college, do what you got to do, get out of college, you got this oil company you can come run. On top of doing what you're doing in school. You know, you got this barbershop that's yours. You know, by the time you finish and graduate, I'm about to start retiring. Because you got to understand that building process of building something for your kids needs to start before your kids are even born. that ideology of building something and leaving something behind needs to happen before you even have a kid. If you already got a kid and you trying to start it, we already starting late. And I'm talking to myself because guess what? I didn't come across that revelation in life until I already had kids. So now I'm working behind time to build something to leave for my kids, to create generational wealth. Because like I told you, generational wealth is not, I'm a janitor and my son's gonna be a teacher and my other daughter, she is a manager at the grocery store, and my other daughter, she's a gym teacher, and just because we all got jobs, that means we got generational wealth. See, that's what a lot of black people think. Just because everybody got a job, y'all doing good. No, everybody's still living check to check. Everybody's still, one furlough away from being done. One, we got to lay you off from being done. This is what it is. We ain't got that generational wealth. We ain't got that connection. We don't have that connection we don't got that connection that God gave to Adam. Let's just be honest. As a father, you should want to have, to be honest, a rent house for when your kids get older and when they get out of school and they graduate. So maybe that can be their starter home. So when they come out of college, they ain't got to worry about jumping into the market and trying to get screwed. They can come right up under you and go back and live into the home that they grew up in. Just take care of it. You understand? They can still come work for their parents in the business that their dad owns. And if anything goes wrong, the business will be left to them. They can still do that. Like, just because you're of age, don't mean you got to be thrust into the wolves. And we have grown accustomed to being just thrust into the wolves, and just so happen to survive. That we grown this ideology as people that, hey man, I made it. I'm good. I'm all right. My kids should be good because I made it. No, you don't want that. You don't want to thrust your kids in. We have to get away from that ideology of just because we survived, our kids should be straight. They need to get strong. They need to just man up and woman up and survive like we did. No, we got to get away from that, because that's taking the accountability off of us of working hard to produce something to help our kids walk into adulthood and society just a lot easier. It's always about setting up the next generation for an easier walk into the blessing. This is what it's about. This is what it's about. And we don't have, us as a community, we don't have that connection to wealth. So what we have to do, like me right now, I'm trying to start a bridge to wealth right now. I don't have a bridge of wealth from my dad. I don't have a bridge of wealth from my mom. So what am I doing right now? I'm trying to start my own. Because when I start my own, best believe my entertainment brand gets popping, my barber business get popping, whatever gets popping, trust me, my kids will all know what to do and be incorporated in what I got going. So if something happens to me and I leave, you bet not dare let what your pops put on the map through God fall and burn to the ground. Because I ain't do this just for me. I did this for you. I did this for y'all. I did this for y'all to come into the world and be like, dang, my dad already got something set aside for me that I could just walk into and vibe with the mentality and everything that my dad used to have. And he giving us the blueprint. Just take this thing over and keep eating. This is what we doing it for. We ain't doing it for you to just come in and sell it and sell us to somebody. We doing this for you to build off of and have this forever. So, to end this off, let me see if I need to talk about any other thing real quick before I end this thing off. I already talked about God not doing the tree. You know, y'all already know the connection. As parents, a lot of people ain't gonna want to hear it, but we have to think about our kids. Us as adults, we already out here living amongst the wolves. It's nothing we can do right now. But when you think about your kids, we can't be so emotional when we see our kids do wrong or do something that we don't like that we want to throw them out to the streets. And then you want to wonder 4 or 5 years after you threw them out to the streets, you walking around calling your kid the black sheep. When you threw them out there, you threw them out there amidst all the dirt and the muck and the mud and the wolves to become the black sheep. You threw them into the black sheep situation. You told them they had to leave at 18 or 19 years old. Because you mad as a parent because they didn't understand why they should pay you $200 a month to live where they stay. Instead of you explaining it to them, you just got mad and threw them out. You told them that. You got mad and threw your daughter out because you found out that she was having sex. And you were just so ashamed, instead of reasoning with your daughter and talking to your daughter, you just threw her out to the street. You did that as a parent. You kicked out your son when you found out that he went to go explore life and then he ended up getting a girl pregnant. So you just kicked him out to the street to survive, try to take care of himself, trying to find a place to stay, trying to make money now with a kid. You threw him out to the street and you wonder why he's struggling in life. You did it as a parent. You did it. Why? Because my mom and them did me the same way. We got to break those negative chains. Just because your parents did this to you don't mean you got to turn right back around and do it to your kids. We got to break those negative cycles, people. We have to break those negative cycles. We can't keep doing what our parents have done to us, knowing damn well we honestly got something against our parents for how they did us. So why would you turn around and do your kids the exact same way? We got to break those negative cycles. If my parents kicked me out, let me tell you something. My mother saw me go sit with my father at 14 because I was getting in trouble. As soon as I hit 18 in my father's house, my father kicked me out. My father and them kicked me out. So you kicked me out. I ain't got no place. Barely just got a ride. Yeah, I got a job. Where you think I'm gonna go if I can't go back with you? Where I'm gonna go? Yeah, I'm gonna find somewhere. I'm gonna find somewhere that I can lay my head at, and it may not be a place I really want to go. It may not even be a girl that I even really like that, but I'm gonna find somewhere to lay my head. And then me finding somewhere to lay my head can either do one or two things: get me caught up in something that can get me killed, or get me sent to prison, or get me caught up with a young woman that I'm gonna have a baby with that I should never even been there with, because I still should have been at home. But you kicked me out. These are the scenarios. What happens when you kick your daughter out? You kick out. You tell her she can't come back because she want to be grown. Instead of sitting down and keep having a talk with your child of how you're trying to set her up to be a better person in life. You kicked out. So what happens when you think you kicked out? You think every young boy was gonna think she just cute and we gonna let her stay here for free? You understand me? You ain't gonna think some young knucklehead ain't gonna try to make a prostitute out of her? Run game on her? You ain't gonna think trying to find a place to lay her head that a couple young people ain't gonna try to assault her? Because you so mad? Because she want to go out to the club? Are you so mad because she don't want to pay half of the bills of your home so you can stack money and do stupid stuff with it as a parent? So you kick her out because you trying to bleed her dry and take advantage of your kids? People, we got to do better than this. We got to do better than this. And just in Bible, just biblical, like I told people, this is only part one. God gave Adam a home and told him to dress it and keep it. God gave Adam the food, that all the food that he would need. His father gave him that. His father gave him a home. His father gave him 2 portions of work. You hear me? His father gave him food. Remember, listen to what I'm saying. His father gave. His father gave. His father gave. His father gave. Now, if you're in a situation where your child doesn't have a father around, male or female, they already starting behind. They already starting without and delinquent. They already start in deficit. Because there's a connection between a child and a father that needs to be there. Just like it's a connection with child and the mother that needs to be there. Therefore, a man shall leave his parents' house and hold fast to his wife. Not a man shall leave his parents' house and go struggle trying to find a place to stay. Not a man shall go leave his parents' home and go live with 4 or 5 of his homeboys that ain't no good. Go live with his gang-banging partners. No, it didn't say that. A man shall leave his parents' home because his parents mad and go sit in his car and be homeless for 3 or 4 months because he ain't got nowhere else to go. Nope. A man shall hold fast to his wife, even if it's under his parents' roof. Before you disrespect and desecrate your parents' roof, you need to be married to the woman that you're bringing into them. Because just because you get married don't mean you're going to be financially ready to move on your own. There's a lot of people who get married and still live with their parents. Or live with one of the parents. Or go back and forth between the parents. That happens. Just because you get married don't mean you can afford to get out on your own right now. You still could be trying to stack money. Maybe it's a bad time in the economy to get a house. But guess what? When your soul on the line, you can't afford to do no fornication. You can't afford to do no adultery. You understand me? So before a man leave his home, he needs to be married to a woman. Before you even have sexual intercourse with a woman, you need to be married to a woman. I'm talking to the parents now. I'm talking to the parents now who still got a grip on their kids, who still can teach their kids some lessons, who still can teach their kids that it's a right way to do things. Because let me tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all parents something. And I'm going to end with this for the night. I often hear people say, experience is the best teacher. 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 And I never found that to be true. Why? Because experience is going to leave you with 2 ideologies or 2 feelings. Especially when you talk about sexual experience. Sexual experience is going to leave you with feelings that you find it very hard, and images that you find it very hard to get rid of, or it's going to leave you with experiences that you really, really would hate, or you really hated that you even embarked in. And everybody to this day who's been sexually involved with somebody, married or unmarried, while you was out there fornicating, that means having sex, not to your wife, not to your husband, not to none of that. Just having sex all willy-nilly casually. have all got experiences that they wish they could take back. And they all got experiences that when you try, you can't compare that experience of a failed situation to the one that you so-called say doing you right and treating you right. The experiences don't match. So now the person that you with down is fighting a losing battle because they can't compare to your past experiences. See, that's why we was intended not to have sex premaritally. Why? Because if two virgins meet, right? If two virgins meet with no ideology of sex, not knowing that sex, not only knowing that sex is something that's supposed to happen within a marriage. When these two virgins meet and they connect, and they are all each other knows, who can tell these two virgins that what they're doing sexually in their house, in the secrecy and privacy of their home, is wrong? Who can tell this man that he's doing it wrong? Who can tell this woman that he's doing it wrong or she's doing it wrong? They are all they know. And they're going to do it wrong. They're going to do it until it gets right. You understand what I'm saying? They're going to have sex and build with each other until it gets right. But all they have to compare is each other. All they have to compare is their last sexual experience, not the sexual experience between your husband and the 5 other boyfriends you got. Not the sexual experience between the wife and the 20, 30, 40, other 50 other girlfriends or ladies you just slept with. Y'all have to understand. And a lot of people take this lightly because everybody think they got it under control. They know what they doing. And they like to call everybody else weak-minded. You know the sad thing about being married and being in the relationships and all that stuff like that? I tell women all the time, your husband and the conversation you have with him is going to be one way. But when your husband out and talking to his homeboys or people at the job, the conversation going to be another way. That's why you have so much, cheating going on. I tell dudes all the time, the conversation your wife have with you, it's not going to be the same conversation she have with her girls. Especially when y'all already been sexually involved before y'all got together. Y'all already been sexually doing things in this world. Because people talk. People talk. And as a man, I talk to many a males. Many males about their sex life. And over 90% of the males I talk to who have settled down and got married, majority, I'm gonna say out of 100% of the people that I personally talk to, I'm gonna say 90% of those males would say, dang, bro, my wife, she definitely ain't the best girl I had sexually. She definitely ain't my best sexual partner. I love her though because at the end of the day, she may not be my best. She may not have those skills, and we working on building them skills. But I love her so much because at least I got the ideology and I got the ideal of she hasn't been out there with all these other men. She maybe been out there with 2 or 3 other guys, and then she met me and we got married. While the girls who got all this experience that I love, they done been out there with 15, 20, 30 other guys. You understand what I'm saying? So now you have to fight off the experiences of your wife not being the best sexual partner you had. And it can be frustrating at times because you're yearning those women who know how to please you, but that ain't the woman you married. See, that's why we were supposed to be having the sex until we're married. Because now you got your wife out here who's been with 8, 9, 10 other men. And what if you, as the man she married, was the best financial provider of all the men she dealt with, but was the suckiest, the most horrible sexual experience she had out of all the dudes she been with? Can you imagine that? Can you imagine being the man who makes the money, but your wife telling her friends, I'm not gonna lie, out of all the men I've been with, when it comes to sex, he's the worst. Can you imagine hearing that? Could you imagine hearing that? Because now you're fighting against all this other experience that you weren't supposed to even be in competition with. But now this is what you got to deal with. This whole buy the milk ideology, or test the milk before you buy the car, or test the car before you buy the car ideology. I don't know, people, but I hope y'all kind of got some understanding on the first part of this. The connection between the father and the child. So many people are lacking. We don't have a generational bridge that helps us into life. We don't have it. It's so many brothers out here. I commend these brothers, and it's hard for me to be hard on them sometimes. Don't get me wrong. We all still know right from wrong. But at the end of the day, it's hard trying to build something from the ground up. This is what people need to understand. This is what men and women need to understand. Building something from the ground up in society on this earth is a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to do. To build something from the ground up. When you have no type of blueprint to look at, when you have no good example of a business built, or no good example of a legacy built. You have no legacy. You didn't inherit no legacy. You didn't inherit no generational wealth. You didn't inherit that, male or female. You didn't inherit that. You didn't inherit that. Now you jumping off into a relationship, like I said, trying to play a mathematician between your money and your girl's money about who take care of what, who doing this, and we doing this 50%, and we doing that 50%, which it ain't even supposed to be like that, because both of y'all was thrust into adulthood from a struggling aspect. Now y'all have a struggling mindset trying to be in a relationship. Y'all done brought struggling mindsets into a relationship and wonder why your relationship ain't doing so great. Yeah. Me and a person can never link and still have great sex. Don't let the great sex fool you. That's just sex. But mentally, we off kilter. We off note. So to the parents, let me tell the parents, because maybe we could save the next generation of kids. Maybe we could save the next batch of kids. Maybe you could stop your kid and talk to your kid and really game your kid up before your kid out there is having premature sex in junior high and premature sex in high school. Maybe you could stop them. Maybe you could stop them. Maybe you could tell them to do them right. Because I know on my kids, I'm really on my kids about keeping their virginity, doing things right, and trying to build the right way so they can walk into life a proper way with no stress on their chest. You know, it's great. It's great to be able to walk into a legacy. A legacy that you've been learning since you was 12, 14, 13 years old, and you know it like the back of your hand. And you can just walk straight into the money making. Man, I know that's a beautiful thing, to just walk straight into the money making. I know it has to be a beautiful thing. It has to be. So to all the people who got kids now, who got teenagers, who got kids in high school, yeah, your junior high kid or your high school kid may have already lost their virginity, right? But just because they lost their virginity don't mean we can't save them from years of heartache and years of pain and years of misunderstanding. We can still save them from that. So what I need parents to understand right now, especially if you got a kid, think about not putting your kids out so early, not kicking your kids to the curb with that whole you 18, you feel like you're grown mindset, get out of my house. Dwell with your children with understanding. They're going to do things that you don't like, but you got to keep dwelling to them instead of throwing them out there to the wolves and wondering why they have these extensive criminal records, or your child coming back and she gay them, or your son gay them, or they can't hold down no job, or they already did something desperate and starts trying to steal from their job and lost their job, or they laying up with every person that allowed them to lay up in their crib. While they doing all this because you didn't thrust them into adulthood, you thrust them out into that world because your feelings got hurt and you didn't know how to verbalize yourself as a parent. On the ass end, children, respect your parents. Respect where you live at. Don't bring shame and disrespect to your parents' home. Stop doing that. All because you want to sin. You bringing shame and disrespect to your parents' home because you want to sin. That's it. All acts of retribution that you're doing is because you want to sin. Because if you wanted to do right, you and your parents wouldn't have no problem. But the fact that you don't want to do right, and you bringing shame and disrespect to your parents' home, we got to stop that. We got to figure out how to unify these bridges and get these kids into life on better circumstances. Get these kids to success on better circumstances. You know, I want y'all to remember, don't go running to no Bible talking about the man is the provider, the man is the provider, the man is the provider, and forget that God gave Adam everything that he ever needed. He gave it to him. He gave him the house. He gave him the work. He gave him the food. He gave him the instructions. God gave it to him. God didn't just throw him in the world and say, go figure it out. He gave it to him. So remember, as a parent, you're supposed to be giving something to your kids to build from. You are supposed to be giving them a way to truth and light. And it's simple as that. But until then, man, I know I probably kept y'all a little longer than what I thought, but it's your boy Messiah Boss, and that's part one of a man who finds a wife finds a good thing. I'll get with you guys again on my next pod, and I am a viewer-friendly podcast. I don't have sponsors. I don't have no one backing me up. So at the end of the day, I'm gonna leave the Cash App, my Cash App, in the comments and the descriptions of my video. And if you hear my message and you like what I'm saying and you want to donate to help me build, help me buy better equipment, help me buy better cameras, or just if you believe that I have something to give the world, donate to my Cash App. I ain't got a GoFundMe. I really didn't go that route, but I got a Cash App that you can donate straight to me from Cash App, and they'll be greatly appreciated. Like I tell people all the time, if I want citywide, if I want to help the citywide, I need citywide help. If I want to help the statewide, I need statewide help. If I want to help the nation, I need nationwide help. If I want to help the world, and I want to get what I'm saying to the world, I need worldwide help. I need it. But until then, this your boy Messiah Boss, and I'll check you next time.